hello there. My name is Miss Vicky, and I will be your storyteller. Oh, there's so many wonderful stories to tell. Some of the stories that I tell you will make you crack up laughing. Some of the stories that I tell will make you think. And some of the stories that I tell will make you want to pray. But all of the stories that I tell will always be from my heart. Are you ready? Well, let's get started then. Well, hello there. Thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel. Today, the book that I'm going to read is a book that I actually used to read to my children when they were small. They're all adults now. So I'm going to dedicate this to Farron, Fenice, and Monique because I used to read this to them when they were children. And when I told my daughter, Monique, that I was going to read this, she said, oh yes, because I liked that when I was a child. The name of this story is Flossie and the Fox. The author of this book is Patricia McKizzak. And this is one of those thinking stories that Miss Vicky told you I want you to think about. Okay? Flossie! The sound of Big Mama's voice floated past the cabins in Sophie's quarters, round the smokehouse, beyond the chicken coop, all the way down to Flossie Finley. Flossie tucked away her straw doll on a hollow log, then hurried to answer her grandmother's call. Now, the first thing Miss Vicky wants to point out on this part is, did you notice that Flossie's grandmother only called her one time and she came right away? It's so important, boys and girls, that when your parents call you, you come the first time and don't have them wait. Okay. Here I am, Big Mama, Flossie said after catching her breath. Ooh, it was hot, hotter than a usual Tennessee August day. Big Mama stopped sorting peaches and wiped her hands and face with her apron. You take these to Miss Viola over at the McCutcheon place, she say, reaching behind her and handing Flossie a basket of fresh eggs. Seemed like they'd been troubled by a fox. Miss Viola's chickens be so scared, they can't even now lay a stone. Big Mama clicked her teeth and shook her head. Why come Mr. J.W. can't catch the fox with his dogs? Flossie asked, putting a peach in her apron pocket to eat later. Well, every time they corner that old slickster, he gets away. I tell you, that fox is one sly critter. So remember this, what her grandmother is telling her about the fox. And let's see what Flossie does in the story about what her grandmother shared with her. How do a fox look? Flossie asked. I just remember ever seeing one. Big Mama had to think a bit. Child, a fox just be a fox. But one thing for sure, that rascal loves eggs. He'll do most anything to get at some eggs. Now remember what the grandmother said about the eggs as we tell this story, okay? Flossie tucked the basket under her arm and started on her way. Don't tear it now, Big Mama called. And be particular about them eggs. Yes'm, Flossie answered. The way through the woods was shorter and cooler than the road route under the open sun. What if I come upon a fox? Thought Flossie. Oh well, a fox just be a fox. They ain't so scary. Well, Flossie commenced to skip along when she came upon a critter she couldn't recollect ever seeing. He was sitting side the road like he was expecting somebody. Flossie skipped right up to him and nodded a greeting the way she'd been taught to do. Top of the morning to you, little lady, the critter replied. And what is your name? I be Flossie Finley, she answered with a proper curtsy. I reckon I don't know who you be either. Slowly the animal circled round Flossie. I am a fox, he announced. All the time he was eyeing the basket of eggs, he stopped in front of Flossie, smiled as best a fox can, and bowed. At your service. Now, Flossie rocked back on her heels, then up on her toes, back and forward, forward and backward, carefully studying that creature who was claiming to be a fox. Nope, she said at last. I just purely don't believe it. You don't believe what? Fox asked, looking away from the basket of eggs for the first time. I don't believe you a fox, that's what. Fox's eyes flashed anger. Then he chuckled softly. My dear child, he said, sounding right disgusted. Of course I'm a fox. A little girl like you should be simply terrified of me. Whatever do they teach children these days? Flossie tossed her head in the air. Well, whatever you are, you sure think a heap of yourself, she said, and she skipped away. Now, boys and girls, do you think that Flossie really doesn't know what he is? Or do you think she's tricking the fox to make him think that she doesn't know who he is? Let's see. Fox looked shocked. Oh, wait, he called. You mean you're not frightened? Not just a bit? Flossie stopped. Then she turned and said, I ain't never seen a fox before, so why should I be scared of you? And I don't even know that you a real fox for a fact. Fox pulled himself tall. He cleared his throat. Are you saying that I must offer proof that I am a fox before you'll be frightened of me? That's just what I'm saying. Little Flossie skipped on through the piney woods while that fox fella rushed away looking for whatever he needed to prove he was really who he said he was. Do you think that Flossie is having a good idea? That fox is really trying to prove to her that he's a fox. Meanwhile, Flossie stopped to rest side a tree. Suddenly, Fox was beside her. I have the proof, he said. See, I have thick, luxurious fur. Feel for yourself. Fox leaned over for Flossie to rub his back. Feels like a rabbit fur to me, she said to the fox. Shucks, you ain't no fox. You a rabbit. All the time trying to fool me. Me? A rabbit? He shouted. I have you know, my reputation precedes me. I am the third generation of foxes who have outsmarted and outrun Mr. J.W. McCutcheon's fine hunting dogs. I've raided some of the best hen houses from Franklin to Madison. Rabbit indeed. I am a fox, and you will act accordingly. Flossie hopped to her feet. She put her free hand on her hip and she patted her foot. Unless you can show you a fox, I'll not act accord you nothing. And without further ceremony, Flossie just skipped away. Boy, that fox is getting frustrated, isn't he? He's trying so hard to prove to Flossie that he's really a fox. Down the road a piece, Flossie stopped by a bubbly spring. She knelt down to get a drink of water. Fox came up to her and said, I have a long pointed nose. Now that should be proof enough. Don't prove a thing to me. Flossie picked some wildflowers. Come to think of it, she said matter of fact like, rats got long pointed noses. That's it, she snapped her fingers. That's it. You a rat, and you trying to pass yourself off as a fox. That nearby took Fox's breath away. I beg your pardon. You can beg all you wanna, Flossie say, skipping on down the road. That still don't make you no fox. I'll teach you a thing or two, young lady, Fox called after her. You just wait and see. Wow. This fox is trying hard to prove that he's a fox. He said, just wait and see. What do you think he's going to do? He's tried different things to prove that he's a fox. What do you think he's going to try to do now? Let's see. Before long, Flossie came to a clearing. A large orange tabby cat was sunning on a tree stump. Hi, pretty kitty, the girl say, and rubbed the cat behind her ears. Meanwhile, Flock slipped from behind a clump of bushes. Since you won't believe me when I tell you that I am a fox, he said stuffily, perhaps you will believe that fine feline creature. Flossie looked at the cat and winked her eye. He sure used a heap of words, she whispered. Fox beckoned for Cat to speak up. Cat jumped to a nearby log and yawned and stretched. And then the cat answered, meow. This is a fox because, meow, he has sharp claws and yellow eyes, meow, she purred. Fox seemed satisfied, but Foxy looked at the cat, and then she looked at the fox. Then she looked at the cat, and then she looked at the fox. Then one more at both, just to be sure. And she said, all due respect, Miss Cat, but both of y'all got sharp claws and yellow eyes, so that don't prove nothing, except both of y'all be cats. Well, Fox went to howling and running around in circles. He was plumb beside himself. I am a fox, and I know it, he shouted. This is absurd. No call for you to use that kind of language, Foxy said, and she skipped away. So you see what Flossie is doing? She compared him to a rat. Now she's comparing him to a cat. And that fox, he is becoming more and more frustrated trying to prove. What does that word frustrated mean? It means when you're trying to do something new, like trying to tie your shoe and you can't tie it, or you're trying to learn how to ride a bike without your training wheels and you keep falling off and you get frustrated. That fox is getting so frustrated. Wait, Fox pleading. I just remembered something. It may be a solution to this horrible situation. Well, good, it's about time. I have a bushy tail. Fox seemed to perk up. That's right, he said. All foxes are known for their fluffy, bushy tails. Now that has to be adequate proof that I'm a fox. Ain't gotta be. You got a bushy tail, so do squirrels. Flossie pointed to one overhead, leaping from branch to branch in the treetops. Here, have a bite of peach, she said, offering Fox the first bite of her treat. But Fox was crying like a baby. He was crying like a natural-born baby. No, he sobbed. If I promise you that I am a fox, won't that do? I'm a fox, I know I'm a fox. Flossie just shook her head no. Oh, woe is me, the fox hollered. I may never recover from my confidence. Flossie didn't stop walking. That's just what I've been saying. You just an old confidencer. Come telling me you was a fox. Then you can't prove it. Shame on you. Well, long about that time, Flossie and the fox came out of the woods. Flossie cupped her hands over her eyes and caught sight of Mr. McCutcheon's quarters and Miss Viola's cabin. Fox didn't notice a thing. He just followed behind Flossie, begging to be believed. Give me one last chance, he pleaded. Flossie turned on her heels. Okay, but just one more. Fox tried not to whimper, but his voice was real unsteady, like, let me see. I have sharp teeth and I can run exceedingly fast. He waited for Flossie to say something. Slowly the girl rocked from heel to toe, back and forward. You know, she finally said, smiling, it don't make no difference what I think anymore. What? Fox asked. Well, why? 'Cause there's one of the Mr. J.W. McCutcheon's hounds behind you. And that hound's got sharp teeth and he can run fast too. And by the way that hound's looking, it's all over for you. Oh, with a quick glance, Fox dashed toward the woods. The hound dogs know who I am, he shouted, but I'm not worried. I sure can outsmart and outrun of Mr. J.W. McCutcheon's miserable mutts any old time of the day. Because, like I told you, I am a fox. I know, said Flossie. And she turned toward Miss Viola's with the basket of eggs safely tucked under her arm. That Flossie McFinley, she was a smart, wise little girl. She knew how to keep herself safe and keep those eggs safe. You know, sometimes when somebody is trying to bully you or scare you, you have to just pretend like you're not scared of them, just like Flossie did, in order to keep yourself safe. I told you this was a thinking story, right? All right now. I'm so proud of you guys for being safe when you know you be scared sometimes. Okay, Miss Vicky's going to see you next time. Thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, and please subscribe. Bye-bye now.